Welcome to our town hall. We have quite an agenda, as always, and one resident had recommended, besides asking everyone to silence their phones, to give introductions, because some of you may not know everyone that's sitting up here, and some of you may not know why they're sitting up here. So basically, these are mainly our directors up here. We have Andrew in facilities, Dan in dining, Mary Kate in foundation, Kathy Farmer in healthcare, and Anna in life enrichment. And running up, as always, is Bruce, your chaplain. And the reason that they're here is because invariably someone will have a question and I may not know the answer, and these fine people will know the answer. So they're here basically to help if you stump me. So, and something usually does come up. First off, let me start with a mission moment. Does anyone have a mission moment? Stetson.
Microphone. Such a small group, I thought I could just talk conversationally, but no. I know, but they're not going to listen to this. No. We've recovered from the activities of the Burning Man Festival, but I had an experience that isn't about me, but rather about what the kinds of things you can experience when you participate in activities around here. Life Enrichment does its best job to keep us awake and active and try new things all the time. This was a new thing to me that I completely enjoyed and recommend highly. That's not the point of the story, though. Betty's Pie Shop. It was so much fun going around giving people bad advice and giving them pie and watching the smiles on their faces when they ate the pie. But the point of the story is that little minor, like 2-hour volunteer commitment by me meant a lot to one person. I talked her into having a slice of pie. She really liked it. End of story, I thought. So I was going around with the substitute chaplain when Chaplain Bruce was on his vacation, and the chaplain, we entered someone's room. I didn't recognize her. She was sound asleep. He just put his hand on her shoulder and was giving her a blessing, and all of a sudden she woke up and she turned around and she looked completely past him and locked eyes with me, and she said, "I remember you. You brought me pie the other day." And I mean, it's a little thing, but you get a good feeling that someone else got a good feeling from your volunteer commitment of very little time and a lot of fun. I highly recommend you all think about volunteering when you have the opportunity to. End of story.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And how many of you were here yesterday for the Citizenship Award celebration? Wasn't that something? Oh my gosh, what a tearjerker. And I tell you, Mark, with what Melvin said, oh my goodness, such a tearjerker. It's amazing what all of you do for our team members. And I know our team members mean a lot to you, but it is absolutely amazing. Not only do you donate money to help them, but then you tutor them also. So what a community this is. It really is like a family. Your husband pointed.
Is it on? It is. Okay. This is, well, it's not a small thing to me, but it's just, we sold our car last year, and so we are no longer able to get to food stores and things like that without taking a lift. We discovered the Tuesday Morning Giant bus, and it's been fabulous. And one of the reasons it's fabulous is because of Sean, our bus driver. And I cannot say enough about how helpful he is, how kind he is, how he helps us. There are always about 5 or 6 or sometimes 7 of us. He's always there. He's carrying packages. He gives us the time that he's going to be there, and he's there when he's there. And so I just wanted to give a real shout out to Sean.
Anyone else? Dan always has one in our directors meeting, 100% of the time.
Same one. I just want to take a moment to recognize the, I think, 5 ladies who came in on their days off and did the coffee ceremony upstairs on the roof a couple of days ago. From Dani, it was Terry Adane and Danish Woliasus. Forgive me, I don't know the names of the others. How many people were at the coffee ceremony up on the roof? Okay, a few. Next time they do it, make sure you get up there. It was wonderful. Okay, well, it was kind of a thing they did, but they took their own time to do it and come in. So we very much appreciate it.
Thank you.
I want to add to the earlier comment about Sean Rush. Not only is he a great chauffeur, but he really is kind in terms of helping us with the grocery, and he's very conscientious. And because of that, even though the music of the, what is it, Mosquito? Oh, his band. The Mosquito, Nuclear Mosquito something. I'm not so sure I enjoy it, but I go there anyway out of respect for him.
That's sweet. Yeah, Sean has a band. Okay. Anyone else? Thanks, Jen.
This is a coincidence that Jennifer is giving me the mic, because Jennifer is the one I want to thank. We have a group meeting in the Arbor Room, and I had requested microphone. That's all I knew about the first time. So I picked up the microphone, brought it down, worked out great, wonderful. The next time Jennifer was there, and she said, well, I'll bring it down, that in the flip chart, very heavy to carry. And I said, well, this is great, and if you pick up the flip chart, I'll bring the mics back. But by the time the meeting was over, she had everything picked up and back. So we all know how helpful she is. That's just another example.
All right. Does anyone have any myths they would like me to bust? No rumors going on. Wow, that's unbelievable. Like I don't believe it, but I'd give you a little bit of an HCM update. I don't have a lot, but this is where we are so far. As you know, I'm trying to work with Scott, the architect with HCM, so that he comes out and goes over the plans with you. We're working with Goodwin House Baileys because we're trying to do it in one date when he comes. But we don't have a date yet. I'm still working on that. He is also waiting for information from us as far as our phasing plan, because that is going to make a difference. And part of the phasing plan is going to be based on costs. And Zan, our CFO, of course, is involved in that, how long we need to phase this out. And we did just have a walkthrough with a couple of general contractors, Clark and Book, I believe it's called. So it's moving along as far as the planning, but because we don't have everything together, I don't have a date for you. And I really sincerely hope it's going to be in October. But do know that it's coming. We will have that. And I'm sorry I don't have more of an update. Sorry, I'm reading my notes. This will go in the Gazette. You'll be able to read this, but I think most of you know that Kathy Farmer, our Director of Clinical Services, up here waving. Kathy's retiring after 29 years of service to Goodwin Living, and that's been between GHA and GHBC. So we are going to have a celebration for Kathy, and it is going to be on Friday, September 26th from 2 to 4 o'clock, hopefully on the rooftop. And again, this information will be coming out in the Gazette. I need to get it in by Friday, so it won't be the next Gazette. It will be the following Gazette. But we will get that information to you. And I believe the last thing I wanted to mention, no, 2 more things, 3 more things. Follow up from the last meeting. I was not at the last meeting, but Teresa gave me her notes, and I think there was some concerns about the speed bump. So we are purchasing a smaller one that has a little bit of a ramp up, so it's not a bump like that. We listened. We will do that. And I don't know if there were any more questions on Anna with the inspections. There were questions if you can opt out. Yes, you can. The purpose is for some of the team leads to go in and check just to make sure what's supposed to be done is being done. Did anyone have any other questions regarding cleaning in their apartments? Nope. The last thing I was going to mention is celebrity bartender. 4:00 today. Be there. It's going to be a pilot, an airline pilot, and there'll be a flight of 3 drinks. So we'll have mocktails also, so they're not all alcoholic, but please come by the Fillmore at 4:00. And before I turn this over to let you know what's on the agenda, after me, it's going to be Emma. She's going to give you an update on COVID numbers. Judy Hansen's going to talk to you on the resident council nominations. Stefan, I saw him. Stefan is going to talk to you about volunteer hours, and Bruce is a chapel update. And last but not least, they're not here. Lindsay Hutter isn't here yet because she's doing the presentation at Goodwin House Seminary Road, but she's going to give all of you the update on Goodwin House Seminary Road, GHSR. And she will do this, she and David, on a quarterly basis. So they're going to be last on the agenda. All right, so Emma, come on up.
Good afternoon, everybody. All right, so it's that time of the year where we get to have a vaccine clinic, and this will be held next week, 9/24, 9/25 by Van Don Pharmacy, and that will be right here in the auditorium B and C, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and we ask for the tower to come first on day 1, which will be the 24th, Wednesday, and then the original building will come the next day. If you cannot make it on any of those days and you need to do a different day, we can arrange for a makeup day, or we can direct you to CVS downstairs on G1, because CVS is also doing vaccinations for us. So that is very convenient. I saw that some of you actually went down to CVS and got some of their vaccinations. But Van Don Pharmacy will be here for those 2 clinic days, Wednesday the 24th and Thursday the 25th. Most of the insurances are covering these vaccinations for COVID and flu. There was a question about Medicare coverage because the CDC is meeting tomorrow, and some of the insurances base their payments off of CDC approval and stuff like that. I checked with the pharmacist, and I'm assured that Medicare is currently covering the vaccinations. If anything changes after tomorrow's meeting, the CDC's meeting, then we will send that information out. Also, healthcare center will be done on those 2 days. We will go to the healthcare center. Nobody will be coming down, just in case you have family or friends. Assisted living will be completed by CVS pharmacist. Jen will do their vaccinations on the 25th. Okay. So just be mindful what you wear when you come in on the vaccine dates, to make sure that it is something that's easily accessible, because the shots will be given on your upper arm. Any questions? Yes. No, assisted living will be completed within assisted living residences. So they will come to you on the 25th.
This is both the flu shot and the COVID shot at the same time. Is it all right to get both shots in the same arm? Is there any issue between doing them at the same time?
Not that I'm aware of. Some make the choice to do it on separate arms, but if they do it on the same arm, they'll do it, a little bit separate locations.
What are the hours going to be of the clinic?
9 a.m. to 3 p.m. here in the auditorium.
Some people have allergic reaction to the shots, and there is some pain. Will there be some Advil or something like that available?
So we do not administer any medications at the vaccine clinic, but if you have had a bad allergic reaction, you should not be vaccinated. You should consult with your doctor. If it's just pain and you need medication for pain, the nurse can administer that. If you're independent living, I'm sure you can get over-the-counter Tylenol. Also, I know some residents have recently had COVID, tested positive. So the recommendation is to wait until you're completely well, or you can wait 2 to 3 months as well. And CVS can administer the vaccination whenever you're ready to do so.
Will the RSV vaccine be offered anytime in the future?
So CVS actually administers RSV vaccination. We just ask you to check with your provider and make sure that that's okay to go ahead and get it.
It won't be a group effort like the...
No, it won't be, because some people have already received it. It's a one-time vaccine, so you do not need to get a repeat dose of that. Yes.
In the recent medical literature, and some of the studies that have been done around the RSV vaccine indicates that those with immunocompromised systems, whether it's cancer survivors or other diseases that you have survived, may talk to their provider about getting a second RSV, and it's something to keep in mind if you're in one of those conditions.
Yes, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we look forward to seeing all of you at the vaccine clinic. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me anytime.
Good afternoon. I'm Judy Hansen, Chair of the Residents' Council. And this afternoon, I'll be introducing Fred Pang, who has been Chair of our nominating committee. But I would first like to say I thank all of you who submitted names for possible consideration to be on the Residents' Council. It was very helpful for the nominating committee to have a wonderful group of people to discuss and to contact. So thank you for that. Fred?
Thank you, Judy, and good afternoon. Under the guidelines of the Residents' Council, our nominating committee, consisting of Kerry Wade, Robin Barbie, Jill Miller, Stetson Tinkham, myself, and Judy Hansen as an ex officio member, solicited candidates to fill 3 upcoming vacancies on the council. We received 23 recommendations from our community. After careful deliberation and consultation with potential nominees, we selected 3 individuals who have agreed to serve. They are Irma Kanan, Betsy Fega, and Randy Garber. According to the guidelines of the Residents' Council, if the nominating committee nominates the exact number of nominees matching the number of projected vacancies, the nominees may be elected by acclamation. So unless there is any objection, I request that we elect Irma, Betsy, and Randy by acclamation. Are there any objections? Hearing none, I ask that we clap to express our acclamation. I wish to thank our newly elected council members and commend them for joining the council and taking on the responsibility of representing us. Randy had a conflict and could not be here at this meeting, but he will have an opportunity to address you at another time. Irma and Betsy are here. Irma has a leg-breaking allergy that has taken her voice temporarily. So I will read the remarks she had prepared for you and then ask Betsy to come up and address you. So this is from Irma. Hello. Not really. I don't know. Maybe we should get, Barbara, maybe you should do this. But anyway, it's a deep voice, sort of. Hello. A couple of years ago, I attended a GHA council meeting for the first time and was taken by the invocation asking for guidance and protection, wisdom, skill, patience and compassion, humor and joy for the well-being of us all. In my experience, this is not usual. It is exceptional. I've had the honor and pleasure of serving on resident councils at two other senior communities, Willamette View in Portland, Oregon, and Casa de Mañana in La Jolla, California, both also nonprofits with religious origins. Remarkable communities, wonderful people, effective councils, yet no invocations. That it is done here is special. Those aren't just words. They reflect who and how we are in community. I look forward to hearing from your ideas and concerns. Thank you for the opportunity to serve in fellowship. Irma Kanan. And when I read this, I thought to myself, absolutely right. Yesterday at the citizenship celebration that we had, it was just a warm feeling of community. Not everybody here agrees with everybody, but we get along and we take care of each other. And that's very special. So with that, I would like to ask Betsy if she has some remarks. Irma. Is Betsy here? Okay. You'll get a chance to hear from her sometime in the future. So with that, I'd like to turn this back over to Judy to close out. Or to... I know.
Done?
I'm done.
Okay. Thank you, Fred. Thank you. And Stefan, you're next. Thank you, and congratulations, Irma. Looking forward to working closer with you. Stefan, I have your microscope. Okay. Stefan, by the way, is with our volunteer program, so you probably he will properly introduce himself, but it's probably why you may not know Stefan.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stefan Barahona. I'm the Goodwin Living Volunteer and Communications Coordinator. I've been in this role since April, but I've been with Goodwin Living for about 2 years. Originally, I was at Bailey's Crossroads as the Volunteer and Communications Coordinator, but now I'm out at all 3 campuses. So I've been working with GHA, TVA, and GHBC in revamping our volunteer programs on all 3 campuses. Again, my role is to onboard, recruit, and maintain all our volunteers. And I'm also in charge of 2 newsletters, the West Winds at GHBC and the TVA newsletter at TVA. But my reason for being here today is I have exciting news. We will now be submitting your volunteer hours through an online form that you can find on the Uniguest website and app. I do have a couple slides to show you. Again, so like I said, you'll be now able to submit your hours via the Uniguest app. And the form is quite, I would say, simple. If it pops up, of course, technical difficulties, of course. Give me 1 second. And it does not want to allow me to open it. Well, I apologize for that. But I'll just speak through the form right now. So the form is a Microsoft form that, again, you can find on the Uniguest app underneath Forms. When you go underneath Forms, you can click a link that says Volunteer Hours. And different from the way you were submitting it previously is that we are just asking you to submit your hours for what you're volunteering internally, so on campus, so whether that's a committee or a holiday event or anything else going on campus. But also the volunteer hours you spend outside of the community. So say that you volunteer at a museum, you volunteer at a church, another organization like AFAC, we want to know those hours as well. We don't ask for the specific kind of activity. Again, we're just asking for the hours. And again, the form will just ask you for your name, your email address, your phone extension in case I need to get in contact with you, and the month that you're submitting the form for. And so, yeah, I apologize I wasn't able to show you right now, but if you have any questions, I would love to answer them for you. Perfect, it works. So if you have your phone, you can check it out right now. It is online.
Will the paper forms still be available? The reason I ask that is that, at least in my case, I go through a week or so and then put down what happened that week. But I don't know how you would do that on electronic form like that.
Right. So we do ask you to keep track of your own hours, whether that would be using the paper form as a template or keeping it in a notebook or in a notepad. And then at the end of the month, submitting your hours via the form. Now, I can work with, I do have some volunteers at GHBC who still do submit them via paper. So I'll go ahead and work with the GHA Life Enrichment team to accommodate for those individuals. I would prefer to continue submitting it via paper. Seems we have a question right here.
Hello? Over here?
Judy has a microphone.
There might be some of us who need a review of why these volunteer hours are so important.
Yes, so they're part of, so they're submitted during our Goodwin Living tax return at the end of the year. And it's related to our status as a 501(c)(3 profit, a 501(c)(3) nonprofit, and it helps keeps costs down. I do have a little bit more of a longer answer, so I'd love to connect with you a little bit later to talk a little bit more. Yes.
I'm just curious why we need to make this kind of a change. There's some people here who don't use computers at all. I tally my hours at the end of the month. Sometimes I forget. I think there are a lot of people who forget. And so I think this makes things more complicated.
Mm-hmm. I understand, yes. And so, and to give you a little bit more context, previously, these hours were inevitably submitted online. They would just have to be taken from the paper copy and submitted on a form that is separate. So this is saving a little bit of time in that aspect. But like I said, I do want to accommodate for those individuals that do want to continue submitting it via paper. So I'll go ahead and work with the GHA Life Enrichment team to ensure that that's still an active thing. Yes, Barb.
This is from a resident on the TV that they're trying Uniguest volunteer hours now, and it works perfectly. And she asked, do we report each month or one amount for the full year?
So you can report once a month. So let's say at the end of September of this year, let's say October 1st, you want to submit all your volunteer hours. You would go ahead and do that. and say that one month you forget to submit your volunteer hours, or maybe you need a little more extra time to get that, completed and verified, you can always go back and submit those hours, and I would just go back and add that to the proper month. Yes.
Thank you. I usually keep track of those hours daily. I just keep the form on my desk, and as I'm doing something, jot down what it is. Are you looking for the total hours at the end of the month? Would that be instead of, it'd be really tedious to have to rekey it into an online daily onto an online form. Can it be in a summary?
Yes, absolutely. That is the expectation, is that you go throughout your whole month volunteering, keeping track of your hours, and at the end of the month, you just have to submit it one time with the total number of hours that you volunteered here on campus, and if you're volunteering outside of campus, how many hours you volunteered off campus. So yes, no need to submit it for every little thing. Just once a month would be great.
Could you tell us exactly what qualifies as volunteer hours? Does work on committees, for instance?
Yeah, so work on committees do qualify you as volunteer hours. I'm still learning still getting familiar with the different committees and the different events that GHA puts on. But speaking as if I was at GHBC, if you're a part of a committee and you're assisting them with something, for example, like the Holiday Bazaar, or if you were helping out with, trying to jog my memory here, with the employee gift fund, things like that, that would qualify as volunteer hours. Resident council, yes, that's a good one.
If we do our hours daily, will they save until you push send? So we do have to keep track of them on a piece of paper and then transfer.
Yes. So again, keeping track of them however you'd like to keep track of them, and then at the end of the month, submitting that total volunteer number.
Okay.
Number.
Thank you.
Any more questions? We have one more in the back here, I think.
I want to thank you for making this so much simpler than the tedious paper process.
Of course, my pleasure. And I'm here to help. I'm here to troubleshoot. If you guys have any questions about the form, any edits you think that would be beneficial to the form, more than happy to have that conversation with you all. And if you have any more questions, you can email me. Again, my name is Stefan Barahona. So that's S, the letter B as in boy, ARAHONA at Goodwin Living. And my extension is 7671. Cool. Great. Thank you for having me.
Good afternoon. I'm Bruce, your chaplain, and welcome to the September back to school everything, back to all sorts of things that maybe you've given up for the last couple of months, back to committee meetings and all of those things. Some things just keep going on through the year. There are two memorials in the next 2 days that I just wanted to flag for you. Partly because I won't be able to attend them because I'll be at other services. I haven't been able to work out the stunt double process yet of being in two places at the same time. While I'm here tomorrow for our 11 o'clock service, there'll be the funeral for Nuala Berry over at Blessed Sacrament Church at 11 o'clock. And I wanted to bring your attention to that because, I don't know, is Helen Geiser in the room? Yeah, Helen's back there. Why don't you come on up here so I can have you next to me, Helen? I know she doesn't want to do that, but come on. When I first started here 19 years ago, Helen was not a resident here and Nuala was not a resident here. They were the two folks that came from Blessed Sacrament on the Mondays when the priest didn't come, and they brought communion to our Catholic residents. And Nuala and Helen have known each other since the 70s. And Nuala was very active at Blessed Sacrament. I've heard of two things, line dancing and handbells, but she volunteered at all sorts of things as well. And Nuala moved in first, and then eventually Helen moved in. And Helen has, a little while ago, said she retired from visiting residents, but she hasn't really. She keeps doing it because it's in her heart. She can't help herself. And I'm just so grateful for folks like Nuala and Helen and what they bring to our community. And we're glad that you moved in and kept doing it. So God bless you.
So if anybody else wants a volunteer, see Bruce.
Yeah. Then on Friday is the service for Julia Hall. That will be at St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Old Town at Duke and Pitt Streets. And I'll be at a service. We had a resident, Harry Gold. Turned out Harry Gold moved into the apartment my mom lived in for 7 years. She wasn't there anymore when he moved in. But Harry had, his son Carl would come and join him for the Senior Singers, which was our Friday singing group. They would sing together. And when Harry died, Carl invited me to be a part of the memorial for that. That Rabbi Gail Fisher led. And since then, not too long after we had the service for Harry, Carl's wife Kathy died, and her service is going to be on Friday at 11 o'clock. So that's where I'll be, and I won't be at Julia's. But I expect there'll be some of you that will be at either one or both of those occasions, representing the heart of Goodwin House to be there. And there'll be a couple others coming up during the month if you just keep watching for the notices. In October, because before our next town hall, this will have started. October is the month that our outreach committee provides food for Alive, a food drive. We gathered something like 400 pounds of food last year. And there'll be containers in the lobby where you can bring your food, non-perishable food, and there'll be a list available too of the things that are encouraged. And Alive serves thousands of people through the year in our Alexandria community, and our Goodwin House Memorial Chapel is a member congregation of, we're not technically a congregation in the terms of the diocese, but we were allowed to become a congregation of Alive. So we're one of 50 congregations in Alexandria that work together in a lot of different ways, and this food is just one of them. So you'll be able to bring that food all through the month of October. And then in the midst of that, on Sunday, October 19th, will be the 44th annual Step Alive Walkathon. And we have a team called the GHA Multimodal Seniors. So we have walkers, walkers with canes, walkers with wheelchairs, walkers with rollators, walkers with scooters. We start at 1 o'clock on Sunday the 19th on the roof to get a group picture and get our t-shirts. And then some do their laps on the roof, some do their laps around the spire, up the hill and up what they call the Stairway to Heaven. And some do a walk all the way around up Seminary, up Beauregard to Seminary and down and around Fillmore and back here. And you can take your pick, do more than one. And there'll be registration forms available in the chapel. We'll probably have some out by where you drop off your food as well. So there'll be lots of ways to participate. It's $25 registration fee that gets you the t-shirt. Children 6 to 13 for $10, and if any of you happen to be 6 and under, you can do it for free. But you can have your grandchildren come along. There are people that do this in Alexandria. There's a 5-mile 5-mile trail course. There you go, 5-mile course and a 5K walk. There are 2 of those. You can choose from those, and they'll be starting from George Washington Middle School on Mount Vernon. So those are some things coming up. And our resident who's our contact liaison with Alive is Pam Farrand. So she's available to answer questions on this, so am I, and anybody else on our outreach committee could probably help you too. And thank you all very much. Oh, one more. Since she's here, Garine, come on up. I introduced you to 3 interns the last town hall, saying that we were going to have them. They don't all come on the same day or have the same schedule, and they're in 3 different versions. Garine is a student at Virginia Seminary, and she's doing what would be called field education, now called contextual ministry. She's not in our CP program. This is a different program. And she's with me for the fall semester and for the spring semester, 12 hours a week during the fall and 24 hours a week during the spring. And so I hope you'll get to know her, help her get to know you and what Goodwin House is all about. And we're so glad that you're here. Thanks so much.
Good afternoon. Oh, everyone sounds so formal. It's Wednesday. Good afternoon. All right, there we go. I'm here to talk about Goodwin House Seminary Road, except I was looking across the room at someone in green, and I thought to myself for a moment that I won't be able to look across the room a whole lot longer for that beautiful, caring heart in green. So I just have to come over and give Kathy Farmer a hug because we have a celebration coming up for you. And I need to share a quick story. And Kathy, you can tell the story. So rewind to June of 2017. In May of 2017, we had a big celebration in this room because we were finishing the transition of assisted living and healthcare over to the new healthcare center. So we had a big celebration in this room. And then there was a 3-day period where all of the residents were just so tenderly transitioned to the healthcare center. And when we opened the healthcare center, it was the largest of its kind in the Mid-Atlantic for this small house concept. And so it wasn't a model that everybody knew. We were breaking new ground. We like to be creators and innovators at Goodwin Living. And Kathy was part of the trio, and right over there I do see Miss Charity Ompong, thank you very much, and Josh Begley. And right along with them was Comfort Boating. And so this really quartet opened up this new concept. And it was challenging. It took a little bit of time to figure out how we ran small houses. And Kathy Anderson, who was the CEO at the time, said, Lindsay, you're new, so you haven't picked up a whole lot. So will you please go be support to the small house team, the leadership team right here of Kathy, Josh, Comfort, and Charity. And I had weekend duty. And part of that was helping get residents from the healthcare center into services that Bruce hosted here. So I learned how to navigate wheelchairs pretty quickly through the elevators. But I want Kathy to share with you the very first assignment she gave me, and you can reflect on what this said about my skill level.
So I said, Lindsay, could you put trash bags in the trash cans? She did a great job.
I learned how to do it. You put several in there because if people are busy, they need to know there's extra supply. So that was the first assignment that Kathy Farmer gave me, and we've kind of bonded ever since. Okay, Goodwin House Seminary Road. We promised that we would come and report to you on the marketing and sales effort of Goodwin House Seminary Road every quarter. And this is our second presentation for you. So I'm going to transition. September Town Hall update. And am I in anybody's way standing here? Okay, good. All right, so here's a quick look at the agenda. And as we get underway, I want to begin with a thank you, because we can grow and serve because we're strong with our occupancy at our existing communities. And we're really grateful. GHA has been at or better than budgeted goal for all of fiscal year 2025. And you are a very big reason why. You share it with family and friends, you serve as ambassadors, you serve on the marketing committee, and you just promote this community in wonderful ways to us. And I want to give you a round of applause, and please give yourselves a round of applause for occupancy in 2025. Okay, so I'm just going to reintroduce the sales team at Seminary Road. A reminder, it's a dedicated sales team. They don't rotate between Seminary Road Sales Office and GHBC and GHA. They're very focused on Seminary Road. I'm going to highlight a few of the renderings. Those are imagery of what the new campus will look like, with a focus on spirituality, creativity, wellness, and socialization. We'll talk a little bit about the timing. Where are we in the process? I'll give you an update on sales activity, and then a quick preview of what's to come in the way of events. So this is the sales team. I think all of you have had an opportunity to meet David Taylor. He is our Vice President of Sales. And then Stephanie Oliver, the Director of Sales. Vincent Ayler is a sales counselor. I think you all know Adrian Wyman, who transitioned from being a sales counselor for GHA and GHBC to become the first employee at Seminary Road. And someone you haven't had a chance to get to meet, Betsy Nolan. Betsy is the sales and event associate. So that team, other than David, he rotates, but that team is based out of an office that's just near Clyde's, which I know happens to be a spot some of us visit. And if you were to go to Clyde's and you'd pull in off Beauregard, you'd turn left to go to Clyde's. If you turn right, there are a couple of medical office buildings, and the sales office is in the very first medical office building. And at some point, we'll look forward to having residents come and stop by. I want to say that we have a little bit of an adjunct sales team. And I'm going to move this way because Judy and Irma and Pat and Bart and Carolyn did some mock interviews with that sales team. And we're oh so grateful. They went over to the sales center and pretended like they were prospects and gave them all the questions that they know to ask because they're residents and they've done their research. So thank you, Judy. Thank you, Pat, Irma, and Bart and Carolyn very much for that. Okay, so I said I was going to show some renderings, and I'm going to, I think, move over here and point out a few things. Now, this slide and the next one are going to focus on spirituality at Goodwin House Seminary Road. And we often think of sort of one room on a campus where spirituality happens. The reality is it happens everywhere. And as a faith-based organization that is really continuing to lean into our faith-based history, we are intentionally saying, what are the spaces across this campus that can be spiritual places? And so we're beginning outside, because when you pull up to a campus, you see the outside before you see the inside. So I want to point out these dots in red. Now, for geographic reference, here's Beauregard. Your home is up here. But if you got on Fillmore and you turned left to come into this campus, there's the main building of the View Alexandria, but you'd come up what is this public road. And this is the entrance, the walk-in entrance. Parking is underground back here, but the walk-in entrance is right here. And as you enter, you're going to see number 8, which is a parterre garden. To your left, you're going to see a Zen garden, and a little further over, you're going to see what is the contemplative garden. We have a landscape firm that has been working with us, a local landscape firm, so they're experts in Virginia plants, and they are helping us select what will be the trees, the plants, the shrubs, the annuals that are calming, soothing, have health effects, health and wellness effects. And a statistic that I'll give you is that I was chatting with the lead landscaper, and he said, we are presenting 20% more landscape on the equivalent parcel of land than any project he has ever done in the city of Alexandria. So there's a real intentionality about this. And that's the outdoor piece. Now, I do want to point one thing out, which is important for all of us to remember. Here at Goodwin House Alexandria, our heritage is Episcopal. The View Alexandria has heritage that is Methodist. And as an organization that seeks to be a place of welcome to all for their faith traditions, their spiritual traditions, we're really leaning into spiritual, so it is welcoming to all. So now let's go inside with this next image. So again, this is the current building, the main building, the View Alexandria. You pull up, you're going to see your parterre, your Zen garden, your contemplative garden as you enter, main entrance. And as you come in the main entrance, immediately to your right is the Spiritual and Community Center. So very prominent positioning in this new community. And if you go down that hall, you're going to see this space. It says MR. That's a meditation room. So that is a dedicated meditation room that will be preserved for that use, not a room that has other activities and then we reserve it for a month for meditation. It's a dedicated meditation room. So you see that there's an intentionality inside and outside the community about spirituality and our faith traditions. We also will have a full-time chaplain at Goodwin House Seminary Road. I'm going to transition a little bit now to talk about creativity. It's a big part of this community, as it is GHBC and also TVA. And this is the art room, and it's a rendering, and it's intended to show the variety of art activities that you can undertake, seated, standing. You've got a big glass window, 2 glass windows actually at the end to get in a lot of natural sunlight. So creativity is a very big part of this campus. And my next image is going to be of the pool. So this is the pool. It will be a saltwater pool. And I've learned a lot about the benefits of saltwater pools. So that's important. And there's a fitness center. There's going to be a court that can be pickleball. We think it'll be primarily pickleball, but other activities as well. So there's a whole area of workout, just as you have here on ground level, and then you have your pool. Now I'm going to go to some renderings that speak to socialization opportunities. This is the club room. You might think of it as bridge. You might think of it as reading. You might think of it as card games. This is the club room. It'll be on one of the top floors of one of the towers, just a common amenity for residents. And then this is their version of the bistro. So they too will have a bistro area. One thing I will share with you is this is 2 dining venues at this community, not 3 as you have here. So they'll have 2 dining venues, the bistro being what we think will be the day-to-day popularity place. And they will have names. By the way, we're working on their names, just as you have the Fillmore and the Alexandrian. This is the bar. So there will be a dedicated bar. It will also have small plates. So that's why you see the dedicated seating areas and countertops, so people can come in and get a small plate if they would like. I'm going to transition to timing now. A little bit about the timing. When we were here in June, last time we presented, we said that the sales center would be opening in August. It did. It opened the last 2 weeks of August. That's when our mock interviewers came over and did their work and supported us. And the team moved in about mid-August, and they have been meeting with prospects and holding information sessions. Beginning October 1st, we will begin collecting 10% deposits, just as all of you who secured an apartment made a 10% deposit. That will be the same process for Seminary Road, and beginning October 1st, we'll start accepting 10% deposits. We anticipate that it'll be about 15 months to get to 70% of the independent living apartments being reserved. And if you want to know the number, it's 152. 152. So that's our goal. Now, why 70%? In the faith-based or in the not-for-profit senior living segment, we often go to the private activity bond market to secure bonds, private activity bonds, to fund development. Sometimes we go to the banking community. And when we go and we say 70% of our apartments are pre-sold, that says this is going to be a successful community. So I can share with you that some organizations may go to the capital markets at 40%, and they're in a hurry. We're closer with the conservative, which is our view. We tend to be very conservative, 70%. So our goal is that by the end of 2026, we're pretty close to our 70%. We will go secure the funding, and then in 2027, we will begin the construction. I'm going to put a placeholder in the healthcare center at the View because that building will come down because the south tower of Seminary Road will come over into where that current building is. I'll put a placeholder and I'll come back to that. We'll have groundbreaking and construction, and in 2029, we will be welcoming in that first group of residents, independent living residents. We will open the higher levels of living at the same time. We won't be recruiting for people to move in, for example, directly to assisted living or healthcare until we're much closer to the opening, because there's just a shorter timeline for people who move in directly at a higher level. So how are we spreading the word? How are we getting the word out that Goodwin Living has GHA, we have GHBC, we have The View, Forest Hills, and we have this new community in development? We're doing some very select advertising placements. We're doing some in what I'll call hyper-local media, like the Alexandria, Arlington, Falls Church media. We're periodically putting one in the Washington Post. That's going to capture a broader catchment basin. We are doing a lot of search engine optimization. How many of you use search? Wow. Search is a very big deal. We have direct mail. We are sending out some direct mail pieces. Now, this is more than we usually do, and that's great because we have very occupied communities, so we don't have to go spend a lot of money on advertisements. Sometimes residents will send me a newspaper and say, why aren't we advertising? I just saw this big Mather ad. And I said, because we don't need to spend the money to do that. I'd rather have that money elsewhere applied. That's because, thank you, you help us stay fully occupied. But this is a new campus. The region doesn't know about it, so we do need to kind of turn up the volume. We've also had quite a bit of what's called earned media, where we've reached out to reporters to cover this news story, and we've been really thrilled with the coverage that we've received. We're reaching out to referral partners. And you might think, who are those? Well, how many of us have a financial advisor? I know many of you. I'm looking at Fred Pang, who told his story publicly about how he and Mrs. Pang, they had their team, they had their financial advisor, their accountant, and we want those individuals to know about this new opportunity for their clients. And then we're having information sessions. You all probably came to an information session here at some point in time, right? Well, we're doing the same thing at the Seminary Road sales office. It's kind of tight. As our mock interviewers will tell you, we can hold about 25 people, so it's not big and large. So they're intimate, and here's the schedule that we have for the information sessions. So just completing one as I speak this afternoon, and what I draw your attention to is this middle column, because that's who we're inviting. So we've reserved some of those information sessions to say, okay, these are for first-timers who maybe saw one of the ads, they're just learning about Goodwin Living, learning about Goodwin House Seminary Road. Then we have dedicated sessions for our Priority Club members who have said, you know, I might be interested in Seminary Road. So those are dedicated for that group. That's for the rest of this month. And then you see there are a few sessions in October for people who are new to us. So now you're going to say, okay, well, you've done all this marketing. and you've started to have these information sessions. What are the results? So here are the results. So far, and this was as of actually last Friday, it's increased since then. We have 508 individuals, some are couples, some are singles, that have said, we're interested, we want to learn more. Our information sessions are underway. And I will tell you an interesting stat. I'm going to back up one so you don't look at that number. When we sent out the invitations for the information sessions, the first 2 filled up in less than 24 hours. That's the first time that's ever happened. Now, granted, it was only 25 people, but still within 24 hours. So we had 150 RSVPs within 24 hours. That was really exciting. This was as of yesterday. They had an information session this morning, and David texted me, and he said, we're at 201 Priority Club members for Goodwin House Seminary Road, which is really quite exciting when you think about the fact that we just opened the sales center a few weeks ago. Another statistic here, and this is important because we know that there are current Priority Club members who've said, I'm also interested in Seminary Road. Maybe I have GHA or GHBC or both on my list, and I'm interested in Seminary Road. We have over 60 that are brand new. They've never been part of any part of Goodwin Living. So that's really exciting, is that we're reaching more people. So that's a quick look at thus far. And what's next? Well, as you saw, we're going to continue to host those information sessions. We're going to begin preparing those who have joined the Goodwin House Seminary Road Priority Club to think about that 10% deposit and reserve an apartment. And that begins October 1st. We will begin receiving those. So that's the Seminary Road update. Barb, if it's appropriate, in a minute, I'm going to be glad to take questions, but I do want to talk about one other item, that's that placeholder. Remember, I talked about the fact that the View Alexandria Healthcare Center, it's a smaller building, and it's where the healthcare center residents, the nursing residents, reside at the View Alexandria. There are 22 units that are available, and because we know that that building will be taken down probably December 2026, several months ago, we started adjusting our approach to communicating about the healthcare center. And anyone who's expressed an interest from the outside, we've said we want to share with you that this building will be coming down. And so we've also said that we're going to begin to limit who comes in to people that need respite for up to 90 days. So someone who maybe had surgery, and maybe they can't go straight back home. They need to go to a place where they can get some rehab and care. And so right now, anyone that is coming into that healthcare center, it is a max of a 90-day stay. And the reason to do that is we want to be honest with the market that if someone thinks I might come and live 2 or 3 years here, the building won't be there. So we're adjusting our approaches right now. We're on a timeline scale such that we anticipate we'd have about 8 at the most residents who would be residing there when the building would come down. And there are a couple of different options that we have. And at that time, some options are going to be to say, what is the care they need? And is it a Goodwin Living community that would be best for them to transition to? Or is there a specialty need that they have? And maybe there is another place they need to go by virtue of their conditions. So those plans are all in place, and we continue to update the residents at the View on that. And as I said, we're very transparent with people who are coming to us and saying, you know, this might be a place where we want to be, that we're just doing 90-day, up to 90-day stays. So that's the update that I wanted to share with you all. And Barb said I can field a few questions. So if there are any questions, I am glad to. James, and I think we've got a microphone that's making its way over to you, sir. Thanks, Bruce.
Lindsay, thank you so much for an excellent presentation. Can you tell us a little bit about assisted living at Seminary Road?
Yes, yes. Seminary Road will have all levels of living. It will have independent living. It will have assisted living. It will have memory support, and it will have health care. So all levels of living will be present on that campus. Thank you, Tom. And as I said, we're not marketing those right now. We're very focused on the independent living. How many? Yeah, I think it's 24 assisted living, and it's about the same amount that's a combination of can be healthcare or can be memory care. Yes.
Yes, we're all supporters, and I'm very glad to be kept up to date. What is the range in dollars of a 10% deposit? Because that's one thing that we can, start right away. If you're interested in such a thing, this is what you might be thinking about.
It's a really good question, James. And so we have 1-bedrooms, and then we have all the way up to, it's kind of a similar structure as you have here in a similar inventory mix. And I think the lowest entrance fee is in the mid 300s, and then they go up to about 1.6 million. So there's a range. It would be 10% of that figure for the deposit, same as it is here. The calculus that you can kind of give yourself is that those apartments, sort of similar apartment here to there, it's going to be about a 25% to 30% increase on what the entrance fee would be here. And the reason for that is it's brand new. It's brand new. The tower was built in 1998, so you're almost talking about a 3-decade swing there. The other consideration is that Goodwin House Seminary Road is not part of the obligated group. Dan has made that very clear. It's part of the development corporation. And as a consequence, it doesn't have the financial strength that we do at GHA and GHBC. We will not get the credit terms for that we would get if we said we're going to fold it into the obligated group. But we've been very intentional about separating until some future point in time when it's very sustainable.
One follow-up question. Is that refundable if it happens that your family or something else are going in another direction and you won't be here in this community?
The contracts are the same as the contracts here, and the provisions are the same.
Okay, good.
All 5 contracts that are available, by the way. Yes, ma'am.
Will the health care center be joined to the other buildings? Will you be able to walk from one building to the other indoors?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. So let me go back one and give you. So this is considered the North Tower. It's kind of closest facing DC. This is the South Tower. And the healthcare levels are on the lower floors, 3 and 4. And there is first off, there's a common lobby that you can go from one to the other. In fact, when you walk in the lobby, you can go to the left and you're going to go up one elevator, and you can go to the right, you'll go up in the North Tower. So the lobby level, and then there is this outdoor plaza, which does have some covered areas. And then underground, you would have access, and then all the way underground is the parking. So you can completely go through the campus, any part of the campus, completely covered and away from the elements. Thank you for asking that.
When you were talking about levels of care,
yes,
I don't think you mentioned skilled nursing or the small house concept. So those are not going to be used?
So the small house concept is applied. So on the floor where we have memory care and assisted living and also nursing, it's kind of that small house concept where everyone is going to have an exterior window. It's not as large as the small houses, so it's not a separate building unto itself. And yes, we will have skilled available. But the design definitely learns from the small house where everything is single and single occupancy, and you have all those windows along the exterior, which are so nice in the small houses. Any other questions? Well, I suspect there will be questions in the future. Please bring them on to David and me, and we're glad to both learn from them and we're glad to respond to them. And I will share with you, we sometimes get a lot of questions, the TVA questions, for example. I was just over at their town hall, and they said, well, will we have shared programming and shared amenities? And I said, well, we don't have the programming schedule. It's 4 years away, but we anticipate that there will be some joint activities. So we're still kind of building some of this as we go. So if we don't have an immediate answer, it may be because we're really giving it a lot of thought. We're thinking our way through it, a lot of different considerations, and realizing that some of this is genuinely 4 years away. So thank you. Who do I give the mic to? Barb. Thank you all for the opportunity to be here. I appreciate it. Barbara's become a flight attendant from the 1970s.
Thank you. And a reminder, in the Fillmore Lounge, we are having a happy hour celebrity bartender, and please come. Captain Tamias Reed will be serving you mocktails and cocktails, so please do come. And thank you all very much.